Happy hump day. When you say it creepy like that, it's extra creepy.
That's
Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen, who's moving slowly away from me, and Mario Tirabassi, who's oddly scooting closer. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate that. We've got a big show for you today. We're going to do another one of our review preview shows. We're going to talk about Joey Anderson. Whoa. Laurent Brossoit. And Kevin Korchinski.
Yay. Obviously doing that today because obviously the Polish basketball volleyball team defeated the United States basketball team, so Kevin Korchinski gets his day
Polish
on
volleyball team
Polish Pride Day.
American basketball team? That is big news.
Polish volleyball team beat the American volleyball team.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go. I was going to say, I knew the Olympics were long. I didn't think they did cross.
What were they?
I didn't think they do
Kevin Durant
crossover.
was awful in
What
that game.
sport were they playing, though? Volleyball
Soccer.
or basketball? They were playing
It was a
soccer.
volleyball game. Shut up. Very entertaining. I was distracted by my Pequods. My daughter's here with me today. She wanted to come downtown.
So distracting.
She starts school a week from today.
So early.
Yeah, she said that to me. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
really? That's terrible.
Yeah, and she's a high schooler now, which is terrifying.
Also terrible.
So she's like, I want pizza. So we went to Pequods at 11 a.m.
Hell
We were there when the door
Nice.
opened.
Oh, yeah. The freshest pizza.
It was awesome.
They were like doing the thing where they're with their eyes, like, why are you here?
Yeah, no, there was actually, we were in line and there were probably 10 people behind us to get in at 11 a.m. Yeah. So they know what's up. Pequods is great. It was fantastic. I haven't had it in a long time, and boy, was it good. Anyway.
When I could have gluten, Pequods was my deep dish selection.
Oh, that's, I mean,
As
it's
it
the
should
best.
be.
Yeah, it's the best.
Their thin crust is pretty good, too.
I've never had their thin crust. That sounds like a
Not
challenge.
super thin, but it's pretty good.
But it's crusty.
Now, do they
Thinner
have
crust.
the caramelized crust on
Yes.
the thin? Oh,
Ooh.
wow. Okay, now we're talking.
That's
dang.
interesting.
All right. Well, yeah, we're going there.
Good.
Maybe
Sounds
I'll
like
have
it sounds like
gluten
number
one time.
next time I'm
It'd
here
be
at
worth a
11
good
a.m.
glutening.
Yeah. All right. Be worth
Yeah,
it.
just bring a bucket.
Do it on a Friday so you have all weekend to recover,
Yeah,
and
it's
we'll
true.
be good to go.
Can you do like a preemptive Imodium?
I've never tried it.
All right,
But
they need to make
maybe.
lactate. They need like Gluctade.
Okay, there is something like that because I was at Meyer in the pharmacy section.
Please, the
and-
Myers.
The Myers.
The Myers.
In the pharmacy section, and I saw there was like for people with like gluten intolerance and allergies, you can take something that will it's like a Beano or an Imodium or whatever, and it'll counteract whatever your body
All right, we
reacts
gotta
to
try
gluten
it.
with. Well,
Sounds like a fun summer show
I'll
challenge.
try it.
No.
Well, it's
I'll
like
try it for
No,
content.
what we need to do is our first watch along of the year. You do
And
right before.
put a stopwatch and see how long I
Take
last.
the gluten pill during the pregame show,
I'll eat a hot beef
and then
Yeah.
we'll,
with,
just,
with the bread.
we'll give you like 7 muffins.
Let's not go crazy here.
that might hurt me.
Let's take baby steps.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll try it.
And
I
if the product works, they're allowed to advertise here. How about that?
and
we'll do it that way.
my initial thought was like, well, I just won't eat gluten. But then I'm like, well, there are people who just love the bread products, and
Yes,
it's
that's
not easy,
everyone on
not
Earth.
easy to find the
Pasta.
gluten alternatives. So
Nate's asking if you've tried the gluten-free from Lou's.
yes, decent. It's
Is
good.
it just a sausage crust?
So they have that.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
where the
That's
crust
for
is
me.
made of sausage, which is like you have to be really hungry to down one of those. But no, they have the gluten-free crust now in a deep dish. It's good for what you're looking for. It's good, but it's obviously not the same. But if you're really craving deep dish and you can't have gluten, I'd say it's worth it.
Fair enough. All right, good. Well, we got options. It's good to know.
This has
Rootin'
been
chicken.
Gluten Corner.
No gluten.
Gluten Corner with Mario Tirabassi. All right, let's start things off with our buddy Joey Anderson. He's first on our list. Last year, 55 games played for the Blackhawks, 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points, and a +5 on the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, how about that?
That's like a +1,000,000 on a normal team.
Playing with Jason Dickinson helps.
Yeah, it sure does.
Wait, am I right or are you right? I had 12 assists, 17 points. Am I wrong?
What did I say?
You said 7 assists, 12 points.
No, you're right.
No, you're right.
You're right.
I looked at the wrong line. I'm
Fine,
sorry.
12, 17.
Yeah.
Whew,
I'm off to a-
+5, though, is the key number.
Yeah.
Off to a
that's-
banging start today. I'm just going to go home.
Take that, Faber.
Off the top of my head, that had to lead the team, right? In at least players that played half the season. +5.
I would
No one else
imagine
would have been
so.
close to that, right?
If we only had a way to figure
There's
that out.
no way to know.
How did he do that?
Again, playing with Jason Dickinson helps.
They were a great defensive line. That's for sure.
I got it. Yes, that led the team. He
you
was
go.
+5. Jason Dickinson +4. Landon Slacker +1.
Well, yeah,
Everybody else was minus.
that's impressive.
Yep. All right, so there's last season for
Michael
Joey
Russo
Anderson.
gives him an A+.
We go Mario, right? We go Mario, Greg, me.
Yeah, we'll go
All right.
down the line again here.
Yeah, so I mean, Joey Anderson, I feel like the expectation from him wasn't super high, but I think he performed a little bit above what people would have expected from him, and in the role that he was playing. Like, he wasn't coming in to be top 6 guy, anything like that. I mean, the fact that he played the majority of the season in the NHL was a positive, because he was coming from Toronto 2 seasons ago, where he was buried because of that team's talent. He was in the AHL, so comes into Chicago, plays an NHL role 2 years ago after the trade deadline, and then this year, and he performed amicably. And I think in the defensive role that he was in, he became kind of one of those energy guys, always around the puck, always working hard. He's not expected to put up a lot of points, but he did produce some pretty timely goals and was able to be productive beyond expectations. So I gave him a B-, just because it's he didn't jump off the page and completely become a regular that you're like, oh, you can't, the future involves Joey Anderson. Like, it didn't really feel like that, but for the season that it was and the role that he played, like, he played above what I would have expected from him. And then, a player that had a B- last year, you'd think, oh, there's a spot for him.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. He's going to be in a roster competition this training camp.
No doubt.
Yeah, I gave our guy Joey Anderson a B, because or B+ actually, B+.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
I was extra generous.
Yeah.
Because I mean, again, based on expectations, there was very little expectations. I didn't really expect Joey Anderson to play in the NHL last year, at least not 55 games. I figured, it was supposed to be a deeper team. He didn't make the team out of camp. It took injuries for him to get here, but once he got here, he wasn't going back, regardless of who was coming back. Played really well on that third line with Jason Dickinson, as we mentioned, and contributed with some points, 17 points over 55 games for a third liner who's more of a defensive guy. That's pretty good. So when he was out there, he was never one of those guys you ever questioned his effort. When people say, oh, well, all this talk about guys being passengers, who are they? Who were they? Well, I know who it was.
Yeah,
It
it wasn't
wasn't
him.
Joey
That's for
Anderson.
damn sure.
Joey
Yeah.
Anderson never took a shift off. Obviously, Luke Richardson, big fan of his, put him out there in a lot of tough defensive shifts, and he did his job. It's all you could ask for. This is your role. Go perform your role to the best of your ability. That's exactly what Joey Anderson did. So I agree. I think it's going to be tough for him to play 55 games in the NHL this season, but we'll see.
Yeah, I gave him a B for all the reasons you guys stated. I like how it's B-, B+, B. So we're all kind of in agreement that he had a little better than expected season. Like you said, played really well in the preseason. Thought maybe he would force himself into the team a little bit with the way he played, but felt like one of those last cuts from the team. And just when he came back was just so effective at doing what they did. And you kind of mentioned it. I know Nick Foligno said it too, of We just need guys who are here to accept and execute their roles, and it's exactly what Joey Anderson does. I know the coaching staff loves him because there's something nice, warm, and cozy about a guy that you know you can put out there and is just going to do exactly what you say. He's not going to fill the net. He's not going to blast people with massive checks. He's not going to make highlight reel plays, but he's going to go out there, do his job for 12, 13, 14 minutes a night, and pop in a goal every now and again. And those guys, while they might be a dime a dozen, they're also very valuable at the same time, right? Like you can replace Joey Anderson pretty easily, but to have a guy like that you trust that well, that you know that well, it's really nice for the Hawks to have. So I gave him a B. But again, as we get into our predictions here, we'll probably get into this more. I don't see a big role for him on the team next season.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think there's a bottom 6 spot for him to grab, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Why don't you start the prediction segment then here?
Yeah. So my prediction, I just think with what Kyle Davidson went and did this offseason in free agency and adding players to the mix, protecting against injuries, I think he's kind of put Joey Anderson in a tough spot to make the NHL. So I think he's going to be a regular in Rockford, which I think will be a really good spot for Joey Anderson to be in because he can be kind of in that top 6 in the AHL. He can be a guy that if there's an injury or someone's not performing and, they need to figure things out in the AHL or, get demoted or whatever, Joey Anderson's an easy guy that you can bring up into the NHL because you know what he can provide at the NHL level. If he were to go up from Rockford, it opens up a spot for a young guy to take his place, which is a good opportunity for that young guy. So I think he's going to end up playing probably 60 or more games in the AHL just based off of, the health of the NHL roster and stuff. But in doing that, I think he's going to be one of the biggest contributors to the Ice Hogs this season. Probably 40 or more points. Like that's being a top 6 guy in the AHL for Joey Anderson is a spot where he can score 20 goals. He can, be in every situation, and maybe it presents him an opportunity to go elsewhere and have another shot at getting into the NHL lineup, or he plays so well that he pushes a guy like maybe Lucas Reichel, or have a guy that's pushes Ryan Donato. Those guys that are going to be in that like bottom 6 range, they actually have some competition behind them to continue to play their play in their role, play in their system, and play up to standards.
Yeah, I'm going to predict. I hate trying to predict games played because hockey's weird, but I'm going to say around the 30 game in the NHL. I think he'll start the season in Rockford, and he'll be the first guy with, when there's an injury, he'll be the first guy they call up because he's the guy. And then you have guys like, your veterans like Pat Maroon and Craig Smith. Those guys aren't here to play 82 games. So he'll find a way to get some games in here. So I put 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. That's about where he kind of produced last year in 55 games. So, that seems about right. I think it'll be hard for him to make the team out of camp, which is a good thing. Like, that means your team's better if Joey Anderson has to go to Rockford.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you guys on the same trajectory. I got him down for 35 games. When injuries occur, he's going to be the first guy they call, and there'll be some injuries. But as they talked about, as Kyle Davidson talked about when kind of talking about what he did free agent wise and trade wise, you're trying to insulate your team from completely falling out of things when injuries happen. That means instead of going to find a Remington Pitlick, you have Joey Anderson to call up when these things happen. So I've got him for 35 games, 5 goals, 7 assists for 12 points. So, all right, when we come back from the break, we are going to get to our season review and preview for goaltender Laurent Brossoit. That's next on CHGO Blackhawks. But first, between work, social media, election cycles, and the choices that I make to ruin my life, it's no wonder we're all more worked up than ever. And it's a good thing that when you take those moments to choose chill, you can then reach for a Coors Light to supplement the moment. Yeah. It's mountain cold refreshment. We all know that by now.
There's just something beautiful about getting home from a long day. You open up the fridge and you see those blue mountains staring right back at you. And you know you're going to have a nice, crispy Coors Light as soon as you pop on that couch. Maybe you turn on Hard Knocks and watch it for the 4th time because somehow 45 minutes have gone by. Awesome. And the Bears have not embarrassed themselves. It's amazing. Nice. So, yeah, there's plenty of choices and chances in life to choose chill. And when you do, make sure you choose a Coors Light because when those mountains are blue in your fridge and it's glowing back at you, it's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold baked for a smoother finish. So when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. It is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light and get Coors Light delivered right to your door right now during this show with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
And while you're chilling with your Coors Light out in the backyard, put your sunglasses on to protect those precious eyeballs and to look really cool. And that's where you call our friends over at Shady Rays. They have you covered with premium Polaroid shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 folks. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your specific style. I wear my Shady Rays every time I leave the house. I have an extra pair in my car. I just love the not only the way they look, but just the clarity and the optics. It just seems like I see better when I have my Shady Rays on. Plus, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't worry about it. Shady Rays has the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. And if you don't love your shades, but you will, don't be a weirdo. Love your Shady Rays. You can exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support, and exclusively for our listeners, that's you. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to ShadyRays.com and use the code CHGO to get 35% off your Polaroid sunglasses so you can finally try the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
That is a crap ton of people. That's what that is. That's a lot like that. All right, next up on our list is new Blackhawks goaltender Laurent Brossoit. What a great name. Last year with the Winnipeg Jets, 15-5, a goals against average of 2, a .927 save percentage, and 3 shutouts for Laurent Brossoit.
Pretty decent.
Yes.
Pretty decent for the old Winnipeg Jets there.
I was looking up to preview tomorrow's show. The goals saved above average per 60.
Yeah.
He was 6th in the league behind Joseph Wall, who only played 3 games. Logan Thompson. Let's move the games played up here, right?
Yeah.
Let's do, and this is playoffs too. As I sort, 5th and goal saved above expected per 60.
That's
very, very good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, he obviously with playing behind Connor Hellebuck and being on the Winnipeg Jets, that's a better team to play behind. So he's going to have a bit more of a tougher test coming to Chicago. But I think the hope is that, the expectation shouldn't be he's going to replicate those numbers because I think that is really unrealistic to expect. But if you grade on a curve and he can replicate something similar to that with where the Blackhawks are going to be at this next upcoming season, I think you can say it'll at the very least you're getting an upgrade from Arvid Soderblom last season, which is a low bar to cross, but I think you're going to get that and then some from Brossoit. And I think last year with Mrazek having the healthiest season that he had, you can go into this season maybe with the expectation okay, he didn't have to have any off-season issues, didn't miss a lot of time because of hips or groins or anything like that you worry about with goalies. So you're able to probably expect 45, 50 games out of Mrazek, so you can kind of keep that workload not extremely high for Brossoit because he hasn't played 30 plus NHL games since maybe 2014, 15 or something like that. So yeah, I think if you can get something similar like that from Brossoit, factoring in for the Blackhawks, like you're going to be very happy with that.
So just as a note here, by the way, as I'm looking at these Money Puck numbers on goaltenders, Brossoit was better than Hellebuck in save percentage on unblocked shots, goals save above expected per 60, save percentage save percentage above expected, and save percentage on shots on goal. He was better than Hellebuck in all of those categories. Again, smaller sample size, but these are not like counting stats. These are percentage stats. So
They should have started him against the Avalanche.
I was going to say,
yeah, he's
You're
outstanding.
playing the wrong guy.
So I know we're not going to grade his season last year. Do we want to just give our predictions for him now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Go for it, Mario.
So I think he's going to get about 35 or more games. I think Mrazek's probably the de facto starter coming into the year. But, I mean, again, it's open competition. Nothing says you have to have Peter Mrazek be your starter and Laurent Brossoit is your backup. You can interchange them. I think specifically I said 38 games. So that really only leaves, 44 for Mrazek to have to play. Like
Sounds great to me.
That's a fine split between those two guys. You don't overwork Brossoit based off of his prior career experience, and then you don't also have to shoulder the load to Mrazek because you can't trust your backup. And last season, the median NHL save percentage for goalies that played at least 20 games was .905. If you get that or better out of Brossoit, and if Mrazek can also replicate what he did last year a little bit in that range, I mean, you're talking about a significant increase in goal and a significant increase in wins and points this season for the Blackhawks. So I think if Brossoit can be at that number or better, you love to see it.
I'm going to go with a high amount of games played, 40. I think, why the heck not?
It's basically it's basically a 50-50
Yeah, I
split.
think they'll be good enough for that. His GAA and save percentage there, 2.7, 9.12. That's basically career average for him. So that's an average season for him, and then the 2 shutouts possibly. I just think he's going to play well enough to where you don't have to. Mrazek played 56 games last year. I don't think that was what they expected ahead of time. I thought they were kind of going to try and do an every other, goalie tandem last season. It just didn't work out. Mrazek played career high in games last year. Now, the only thing that has me a little kind of maybe not is he had 22 starts last season for the Jets. That was his career high. So I'm like almost doubling his career high in starts. Might be, I don't know. We'll see if he can do it.
But you'd think though, because he hasn't played a ton, even though he's 31, like it's not a.
It shouldn't.
It hasn't been. He hasn't had a
issue,
heavy
but
load as a starter in the NHL.
Just somebody who's to go from 22 career high to high 30s, low 40s. It's a big jump, not impossible, but I think he'll play well enough that you don't have to start Mrazek 4, 5, 6 games in a row. You can give him that, and then see how the season goes and ride the hot hand. We may get to a point of the season where Brossoit starts 4 out of 5 games, 7 out of 9, because he's just playing so well.
And Luke Richardson has done that before.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play with the goalie that gives him the best chance to win. So over the course of 82 games, those two guys can kind of flip-flop on who that is.
Mm-hmm. Steven with a good point says, if you split the season between the two, does one play against the better teams over the other? I don't know if you can. It's hard to kind of do that because you're going to have spans where you play.
The Blackhawks, almost everybody's
I was
going to
say
team.
there's about 30 other better teams.
Well, I think what he's saying is
I know what you mean.
It's the Oilers instead of
Right.
the
Ducks,
the Red Wings or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's that simple. Look, in my predictions, I've got him down for 40 games played, kind of on the same pace as you guys are. I have a 2.87 goals against because I think just, it is still an inexperienced team up front. You've still got Connor Bedard figuring things out. If Frank Nazar is your second line center, there's going to be some games where a lot of goals are given up. I've got him for a .913 save percentage. But if he plays close to that, or I mean anything, if he's anything like he was last year, the conversation's over. If he plays close to this prediction or any of our predictions, really, I could see him overtaking Mrazek. I mean, look, Mrazek had a great year last year. I don't want to take anything away from it, but it was still an over 3 goals against. The save percentage wasn't sparkling. It was good, but it wasn't sparkling. And again, as he's a year older, I wonder if the Hawks start to think, hey, last year we kind of were playing with house money where he didn't get hurt at all. He's a year older. I think that's a big part of why they went after the best backup available in free agency. There were other guys they probably could have brought in if they wanted him to, a goalie to be strictly Mrazek's backup. But I think they're preparing for, just like they are up front and on defense, they're preparing for some time where Peter Mrazek might be out for a little bit. So I think that he could overtake the starter job by Christmas, by New Year's, whatever it might be. Like right now, if I just had to tell you, like if you had one game to win, are you going Mrazek or Brossoit? I'm going with Brossoit. I mean, I just, the numbers bear it out that he's spectacular, and it's not just the fact that he's on a better team. Again, those numbers I read earlier about the save percentages and all those, and saves, goals saved above expected and all that stuff, he's elite in those things. And again, sure, not as big of a sample size as some of the others, but it's also not a guy who played 5 or 10 games and had outstanding numbers. Right. This is a legitimate backup, with a handful, with a good number of games played, putting up these numbers. So I don't know. I wouldn't shock me if he overtook Peter Mrazek at some point this season, or if it just became a perfectly even 50-50 split, which I'm totally happy with.
Yeah, I think we're seeing nowadays in the NHL a lot more of a more even split in games. There's only a handful of goalies, all of whom we'll talk about tomorrow on tomorrow's show. There's only a handful of goalies, though, in the league now where you're like, oh, they're going to play 65 plus games, or 60 games or whatever, where they are the elite starter, no question about it. I think a lot of teams are seeing the benefit of having quality tandems, and this signing Brossoit wasn't just for kicks and giggles. Like Davidson is expecting this team to be better. He's expecting a lot more out of his players that are here now and that want to be here in the future. And, there was no way that they could have gone into this season with that mentality and said, oh, it's also still Arvid Soderblom with Peter Mrazek. Like, they needed to make a significant upgrade, and they did in that. So, I think So I didn't put a goals against there, but I saw you had 2.7 for Brossoit. You had 2.87. The Blackhawks last year gave up 3.5 goals per game last season. If they have a goalie that plays half the season or more next year that's giving up less than 3, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think with the offensive talent that they've also brought in, where we keep saying like, oh, they'll be probably in the 70-point range or whatever. If they're allowing if this team next year allows less than 3 goals per game on average, I think reaching 80 points isn't crazy to think.
There were so many games last year where Soderblom played, and it was like you could count on 4 or 5 goals against every time.
Yeah.
And shots would go in that were just, how did that? You have to stop. Look, during the course of a season, there's going to be moments that frustrate you because it's a big save you'd like them to make and they don't, and you get frustrated with the goalie. But there were things where we'd look at each other like, what the hell? How do you let that goal in? How do you let that goal in right now? How do you let that goal in anytime? Mm-hmm. That happened all the time with Arvid Soderblom. And like, I feel confident, and Chris Dubiel said Winnipeg was great defensively last year. I hope that didn't inflate Brossoit's numbers too much. Even if it did a little bit, when you look at the save percentage above expected and the save percentage on shots on goal, the goals against better than expected, all those are towards the top of the league. So yeah, you're going to give some credit to Winnipeg's defense, of course, but when he was challenged, he responded to the challenge. And that's what you like to see. I'm trying to see, where was Soderblom was second worst and goals against better than expected, behind Darth Vladar. Save percentage on unblocked shots, he was second worst.
Darth Vader would not have a save percentage that low.
Save percentage above expected was tied for second worst with Antti Ranta. Like, he was bad. Save percentage on shots on goal, he was second worst in the league, .879. Like, that's terrible.
Not great, Bob.
No, that's upside down, by the way.
Well,
I can't read that.
And what I think with Brossoit is just like he had incredible numbers last year, but it's not like last year he was the best backup in the league. He's had this reputation for a while.
Right.
Like, he has a career of being a really solid backup for the most part. So if this was like, just last year he was really good, I think I'd be a little bit more concerned to Chris's point. But I think because he has the resume of being a solid backup no matter where he's at, I think that allows me to have a little bit more faith and trust in
And I think Chris's point is correct.
Oh, yeah, for
Winnipeg
sure.
was a great defensive team, and to expect him to have 2 goals against next year,
if Brossoit carries that 927 into Chicago and keeps it going, give him the Vezina.
yeah,
But
that's not going to happen.
yeah.
All right, do us a favor before we hit the break zone. Smash that like button for us. Let's do a like spike in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smash it. By the way, What Chaos back today. They decided to do a show. Appreciate that. So make sure you hit the like button for them.
We have Chicago media news on the other side of the break.
Oh, that's exciting. Hit that like button. We'll get to it sooner. I'll read faster if you hit the like button. All right, so we now enter the break zone. And if you're looking to place some wagers on futures or next season, or hell, some of the games going on now in baseball or preseason football, please don't do that. Head up to Circa Sportsbook, download their app. They've got those tight money line splits and those low hold models. Their games tried to be a -110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sports books, which may use -115 or -120 splits. Ugh. Circa Sports keeps as little money as possible on large market bets like futures, golf tourneys, especially when you compare that to other books. They've got high app limits and transparency, and if you're a winning player, unlike the 3 of us, Circa will not limit you based on your winnings. 4 of us, thank you. They encourage bettors to download and explore all betting apps available, compare the lines, and they're confident that when you do, you'll be very, very happy with what Circa has to offer in comparison. There's real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books that use chatbots.
Ooh.
Thank you. All aspects of their app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Casino Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So what do you need to do? Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also, be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates like our Cubs Friday 120 clubs. And if you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com. I'm going to get some water.
Nice. And if you are in the market for a new cooler, well, by golly, do we have the product for you from our friends at Rugged Road. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest of conditions, whether you're on land or water. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. And one of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright. So you'll never lose a drink out there on the lake. Can't say the same for my sunglasses. And they have a lightweight design, unlike other heavy-duty coolers. Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. They are perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. Plenty of room to keep your Coors Lights cold, even colder, even longer. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers, reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion, so head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code CHGO for 10% off of your Rugged Road gear.
Ultimate outdoor companion?
Yeah, next to your dog.
I was going to say next to your dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beside your dog.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
But ahead of your wife.
That's Greg Boysen.
I'm not married.
You said that?
Says
Not
the man
me.
without a wife.
Hold on, let's just make sure we put Greg's
There it
Twitter
is.
handle
Yep.
on.
Send all your complaints to him.
Fine.
All right, we hear about some news.
Yes, so we're gonna jump
What
in
do we got?
here before we talk about Mr. Korchinski. From Scott Powers says big news on the CHSN front.
Shiz. Okay, what do we got? What do
Not
we got?
us, the other one.
Cheesin'.
Pat Boyle has been signed to continue on as the Blackhawks studio host, according to a team source. This will be Boyle's 13th season in the position, and more studio hires are expected in the near future. So there's some news for Blackhawks fans and watchers and viewers and all that.
Congratulations, Pat Boyle. This is a warning. If you turn your back on my Greek brother, Charlie Romeliotis, there will be hell to pay. Bring Charlie back. He's too handsome. The fan base needs him.
And get your own bits.
Well, that's different.
Yeah. There
All
you
right,
go.
good.
So, yeah.
I hope that all those people stay. I mean, there's no need. It was not broke. The
No,
studio
no.
show for the in terms of the regular, everyday people, Charlie, Pat, they do a great job. Wonderful. No brainer. No need to reinvent the wheel. People get comfy cozy with these guys. Don't max it up just for the point of
Just
it.
find a permanent in-studio person.
Yes, that'd be nice.
Probably, my guess
Like,
would probably be Kaylee Chelios. She's not pregnant this season, so she should be able to stick around for the whole season.
Long year.
You know,
That is Lawrence Benedetto.
it took me all of 18 seconds to get out of the doghouse around here. Nice, thank you.
Where's my Twitter handle? I can't find the graphic.
But anywho, they
I feel like Pat, Charlie, Kaylee as like the regulars is a good mix to go forward with. Tony Granato was good as well
Yeah.
too, but I mean health issues. It's
Sure,
something
of
you can't
course,
foresee. But yeah, I think having like another one regular analyst to the group would be good, just for the cohesiveness, the insight, and the reliability. I think is a big thing.
someone who's actually shows up to like practices and stuff and knows the team.
Yeah, it'd be
That's
helpful.
good.
Not calling in from
If
their,
anyone is located in the Chicagoland area that can do it,
It's helpful.
Yeah.
It's easier to attend practice that
not
way.
not
Yeah.
calling in from the Upper Peninsula wearing airplane headphones.
yeah. And Change the Logo is asking about the old broadcast team. I don't know if you're talking about the play-by-play, but Pang and Rick Ball are going to be the play-by-play and TV analysts. That's through the team. That's not through the new network.
Right.
In other Chicago media news,
Uh-oh.
I do believe there's a brand new podcast.
Oh,
I believe
heard
so.
about this.
Yeah.
It might be started by a beautiful, handsome man.
Nick
Sharp?
Nick Foligno? Or no, I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to say that.
Our friend Cole Kmet is
Yeah.
starting the 85 with Cole
Hey,
Kmet.
how about that?
That's awesome.
I will put a
I'm
link
excited about that.
in
Yeah.
the chat right now.
Next week that starts up, right? Him
Also,
and,
shout out Cole Kmet for wearing the CHGO shirt to the Cubs game, ergo wearing it on
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks.
Hell yes.
That was awesome.
Hey,
cool.
you love to see the athlete that buys into, you know, the people that are going to be, you know, talking about him and people like us and buys into the fan base that way. Like we are trying to connect to the Chicago fan base in a way that, you know, the media landscape hasn't really seen before. And for an athlete to come in, see that, recognize it, be on board with us and with the with everything that he's done with the CHGO Bears crew, and then to launch this through our network, like it's awesome to see, and I think it's a testament to not only what we're trying to do, but what also, you know, Cole and the new generation of athletes are trying to do now.
Yeah, I mean, there are times you have a deal with an athlete where they're not like they have been with Cole Kmet and Nick Foligno.
Yeah.
Right, where the guys are all in, they're rocking merch, they're, you know, playing into the recurring jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had Cole Kmet. Didn't Cole Kmet score a touchdown and say "F you, Braggs" after he scored a touchdown? Like,
That's
Allegedly.
alleged. Fair enough, but it's just the younger athletes these days are starting to. I shouldn't say younger. I just mean this generation of athletes is starting to understand, like, hey, the way that I get people to support me more and understand me more is to address them directly.
Right.
And I think sometimes when you do that through like team
outlets, like if he was to launch a podcast through ChicagoBears.com, they'd probably be a little selective about who he talks to, what he says, what he reveals. Here, he knows he's got full autonomy to be himself, talk to who he wants, talk about what he wants. And sure, maybe one week he gets called into Flus's office and says, hey, you revealed a little too much about that touchdown play. Can we not do that next time?
Sure. Fine.
Great. But I think it's going to give him the freedom to kind of do what he wants, talks to who he wants. And I think he's really embraced what we do here. And I think, as athletes get to know us, like Foligno and like Komet, they kind of get it. And they see what we're trying to do here. Like, we're not trying to come in here and make headlines with things they say. We're just trying to get insights that we can't typically get and show these awesome personalities off to the fan bases. Because I've said this before, like in my years at the Score, I used to have battles with sports teams about, look, you're going through a tough time right now. Put your coach on, put your manager on, put some players on, and just let the fans know that you're feeling it too. And it's going to help you so much. It's going to give you so much credibility and, built-in credit with the fan base. Say, okay, look, I heard from Andrew Benintendi today, and he sounds really down in the dumps about the White Sox losing. He's a White Sox player.
Oh, okay.
About the White Sox losing streak.
Highest
right?
paid White Sox player.
Yeah, or Pedro Grafal came on and said, hey, I own this. Or Luke Richardson comes on and says, you know what, we got to be better next year. I understand we had a bunch of excuses, but there are no excuses. We have to win. I have to be better. Fans love that stuff. And when you get access to a guy like Cole Kmet, who is opinionated, who is open, who is honest, who honestly probably sees a career for himself in media when his day's over, when his career is over, this is great for him. It's obviously great for us with brand awareness and brand credibility. I love it. It's huge news, and also go Irish.
We got to get him a CHGO Blackhawks shirt to wear.
Sure.
Yeah. And
you can have mine.
for everyone watching and listening, please subscribe to his YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is at the 85 with Cole Kmet. The 85 with Cole Kmet. So please do that. There's a link in the chat here and also in the description. Thank you very much.
Will there be any 85 Bears shows? Bears players on the 85.
I think based off of the title, it's exclusively about the 85 Bears, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
It's
weird.
a history
It's
podcast.
weird to have a guy that wasn't alive when that team happened have a podcast about that team, but I'm all for it.
Isn't
I'm
that
here
great,
with
though?
Jim McMahon. Who are you now?
Cole Kmet wears 85. It's perfect.
I know.
He does.
Yeah, beautiful.
But just 85 Bears. I mean,
Bears.
it's-
I still can't get over last night.
It was so good.
It was an hour without embarrassment. It's like, what the hell?
first time in history.
Seriously.
Keep
I
the
mean,
timer going.
I mean, weren't the Bears always primed for like national television embarrassment? You can count on it. Like, oh, it's a national game. They're going to lose by 50.
There's still 6 more episodes. Give it time.
Eberflus's pants are
Give
going
it
to fall
time.
off during the game. Like something
Oh,
embarrassing
God.
is going to happen.
I mean, can we talk about the fit in the party at the beginning of the show?
Oh yeah.
Like when he's wearing the
I want to talk about his house.
his house.
I wanna
is
party
amazing.
with
But
the
he had,
Eberfly.
the
The Eberflus
I don't know,
is.
satin or not satin,
Linen.
linen pants and that sweatery situation.
Dude, if I lived on a lake and I wasn't fat,
Oh, what was your
I was getting
favorite
paid
part of the summer?
$7 million a
Oh,
year.
and I'd have to say going to Lake Como. You son of a bitch! You're hanging out where George Clooney hangs out.
Yeah, well,
we get to hang out where Cole Kmet hangs out. We win.
That's right, we do.
Very
Right.
handsome man.
Chinsky.
All right, let's get to Kevin Korchinski. Last season, 76 games played, 5 goals, 10 assists. That's 15 points for those of you that can't math. He was a minus 39. So there you have it. Mario, what'd you give him?
so I think he was a 19-year-old playing in the NHL as a defenseman. That's a very difficult thing to do.
Yes.
He was playing half of the season with Connor Murphy, who was battling injuries. He also played half of the season with Jacob Megna, who was battling being Jacob Megna, and Jared Tenorti, who
Just battling.
shouldn't just fighting out there. So it's, as far as defensive partners go, he didn't really get a lot of help there as a rookie. He also went through the loss of his father at the age of 19. Like, that is an extremely difficult personal life thing to go through, while also, going through a difficult season in your rookie year in the NHL. So a lot of things going on for Kevin Korchinski on and off the ice. I think what we saw on the ice was flashes of what made him the 7th overall pick, what made him very exciting as an offensive defenseman. But again, he just didn't really have the opportunity to turn a lot of that loose this season. So I'm hoping for that coming up this season, that opportunities to do that will be a little bit more abundant for him. So I gave him a C just because, it points-wise, as a rookie defenseman, it's tough to put up big numbers as a 19-year-old. So that's tough to do. So I'm not really going to harp on him there. There was always going to be growing pains. He kind of hit a wall towards the end of the year.
It was a good show.
With the with the workload jumping from junior to the NHL. So I gave him a C. I think anything less than that would be harping a little bit on him.
Yeah.
And he just didn't have the ability to really shine too much, which I hope he gets more of an ability or opportunity this year.
I too gave young Mr. Korchinski obviously a C. And he struggled at times, but I would never have called him a liability on the ice. Like, yeah, there were a lot of plays where you needed him to do different things, but again, as we mentioned, when you're 19 years old and you're in your first season in the NHL and you look to your right and there's Jacob Megna, like, I'm not exactly sure what many people can do. So, had he had the whole season with Connor Murphy, maybe those numbers are a little better. A minus 39, as I said, I'm not the biggest plus minus guy, but a minus 39 for a defenseman is a little concerning. But that should go down this year with better partners and hopefully, better offense. If the Blackhawks have the puck more this season, he won't be in his own zone, as much. Yeah. But I didn't really have a ton of expectations for him in going into the season. I would have liked to seen some more offensive output. We saw flashes, very quick flashes of it. I would have liked to seen more, but overall, there's really not a lot to be like down about or furious about. A teenager who couldn't play in the AHL, playing in the NHL for the first season on a bad team, did about as well as you could ask.
Yeah, I gave him a C+, mainly because of what you said, Greg, where there was no real moment where he felt like a liability when the guys he was playing with for much of the season did. And you worried about them, and the offense is going to come. I think it's when you are just fighting to keep your head above water in the NHL, as Kevin Korchinski was last year, and he did a good job because I think his head was above water most of the year. Again, not dominant, but also at the same time not out there completely floundering. The one thing I would say is I wish I saw a few more flashes of, there's what they drafted. There's what's coming. Didn't have a lot of those moments for him last year, but totally understandable. So I'm looking here at a list of active defensemen who played at 19 in the NHL, and the guys around Kevin Korchinski, who had 15 points in 76 games. Nikita Zadorov in 2014-15 had 15 points in 60 games. Dmitry Kulikov had 16 points in 68 games. He was a minus 5. Dougie Hamilton had 16 points in 42 games. Adam Larson. The list goes on, but here's a name inactive that stood out to me. Jay Bouwmeester. 82 games as a 19-year-old. 4 goals, 12 assists, 16 points, minus 29. See a little bit of similarity with those two. A little bit. In terms of like body size, and especially when Korchinski fills out. These are guys who are, Jacob Chikrin's on this list too. Luke Schen's on this list. These are guys, aside from Adam Boquist, who played at 19, who went on to have unimpressive first years, at least statistically, and gone on to have really, really good NHL careers. So, look, while you might say none of these guys are top-of-the-line superstars, aside from, Dougie Hamilton, I don't think anything we saw from Kevin Korchinski last season should change the way you feel about him as a prospect at all. I feel as good about Kevin Korchinski today as I did when last season began, maybe even a little bit of a tick better because the defensive game was able to hold on for those 76 games he played a little better than I expected. I thought there were going to be games where he'd be like a -6 in one game.
Right, yeah.
Where he was just completely discombobulated, couldn't catch up, just was completely lost. And I think the fact that you have Derek Plant and Kevin Dean and Luke Richardson, like Plant and even Derek King, like those two are forwards, but they played a defensive style too. It's a great staff to have around him. Oh, and by the way, Brian Campbell's there. Right, like you've got a lot of guys that are there to really make Kevin Korchinski's transition to stud NHL defenseman easier and hopefully quicker.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here. In the last 10 years, there have been 44 rookie defensemen that have played 60 or more games and had averaged over 19 minutes per night. I think the one that you could say collectively, based off of points per game, plus minus, all that, that had the worst season was Darnell Nurse, which he's overpaid, but he's still a pretty darn good defenseman, all things considered. So it's not to say that, and then it's not to say that, Korchinski, just because he wasn't a stud as a 19-year-old defenseman, is going to be a bust. I think there's a lot of room to grow for him, but it's not everything is going to be overnight success for all these Blackhawks rookies in the next handful of seasons. So give him some time, let him grow up, let him develop, and the increase in talent around him, it's gonna help him individually. What's that the phrase? All tides rise ships or something like that. I don't know. Rising
tides raise all ships or something like that.
Yeah. You gotta wait in 30 minutes in the locks to go from the lake to the river.
Yeah, and don't swim after eating or you'll get cramps.
Yeah, something like that.
Duncan Keith was 22. Philip was asking. Yeah, 22
22
when Duncan
years
Keith
old.
was in. So 3 years old, and that was after 2 seasons
full AHL
in the
seasons.
AHL. Yeah. And he had 9 goals, 21 points, and was a -11. Also played 23 minutes and 26 seconds.
Yeah,
a
he
night.
was their number one defenseman, basically.
But he was much more far along the developmental curve than Korchinski was. And on better team. I mean, it was better than the Blackhawks of last season, but not
The 05-06 team?
Yeah, not a great team, but better.
65 points.
See, that's 13 more points.
Yeah.
Leading scorer Kyle Calder with 59
Hell
points.
yes.
Nice.
Calder, Bell, and Arneson, 1, 2, 3.
ABC, baby.
Want to guess who was fourth on that team in scoring without peeking?
05-06?
Ethan Moreau.
Timo Ruutu.
05-06. God.
You're never going to get it. You will never get this. La,
It's
la, la,
not,
la.
Adrian O'Coin.
No. Oh, God.
Rennie Bork.
Yeah, I never would have got that. Bjork, Bork, Bork. Swedish.
I was going to say Verbata.
Verbata was right next to him. Actually, they were tied, so you were technically correct.
Hey, there you go.
Nicely done.
And Verbata only did it in 45 games.
He was better. Should have kept him.
I know we had a question from Windy City Hockey we wanted to get to as well, or more of a comment. He says Korchinski needs to stop with the pass back on the power play. Yeah, that's
an everybody thing.
Yeah, that's a system
Yes,
thing.
that's also the rookie doing exactly what the coach tells him to do.
Yeah.
almost
Without-
to a literal sense.
without reading the play.
Yes, just
Which that's going to come with time.
instinct will come.
And our good buddy PD, Steve Peters, broke down that play. What's that play called again?
The slingshot power
Slingshot.
play. Yeah,
Hate
As
it.
Seth Jones said, when it works, it works.
Yeah. When it works, it's great.
that's correct.
When it works, when it works, it works.
Well, a lot of teams do it, but it's just
Yeah, I don't understand.
the Hawks were, especially Korchinski, was a slave to. I have the puck. I am going to slingshot it. The only guy behind you is Peter Mrazek. That's okay. My job is to slingshot the puck.
He could
Right,
pass
yeah.
it back to me.
Yeah, he'll
exactly.
skate it forward.
Yeah, we should maybe we'll repost that PD thing on our Twitter after the show today, so you guys can go back and watch it. It was really, really good, and hopefully we can do a lot more stuff with PD on of that style this season. All right, let's get to our predictions for next year, Mario. Fire it up.
So I am going to say that Kevin Korchinski comes into training camp. He's firmer. He's a year older. He's no longer a doe-eyed rookie in the NHL. He knows a little bit of what to expect. I know a lot of people are saying just because he can go to the AHL to send him straight to the AHL. I think he's going to win a spot out of camp. I think, you pencil him in and say, if you're horrible, you're going to go to Rockford and figure things out. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he plays at least 75 games in the league this year. I think he's in the NHL full time. I see his points going up because I think the talent around him improves. And he was never really a high goal scoring guy in junior. So I think that's going to continue to be the case. I think he's going to be more of a facilitator offensively, but I think we're going to see more of it this season. So I have him at 7 goals, 30 points.
Yeah, by the way, the Bouwmeester thing I made, Lebowski5 made a comment about it. They said Bouwmeester's about 2 inches taller and played 35 pounds heavier than Korchinski. He was also more of a defensive stay-at-home guy. He was also a puck mover, though. And while he never put up huge numbers, he was a guy that could move the puck from behind one blue line to the next with relative ease. Right. And while the stats wouldn't always pile up for him, he was a puck-moving defenseman. And I think when we're projecting Kevin Korchinski's career, I don't know if we're going to see him with 60, 70-point seasons. I'm thinking somewhere in the 35 to 50 range.
Yeah, if he was putting up 60, 70 points, he's probably on your top line.
Right. Also, I know Bouwmeester's heavier, but let's remember as a rookie, he was not as... I mean, look at Duncan Keith as a rookie. Look at Patrick Kane as a rookie. Korchinski's going to add a good amount of... I mean, just look at Sam Renzel from draft day to camp this year was a totally different human being. So just keep that in mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Korchinski's goal numbers, as I'm inundated with Futurama ads on Elite Prospects. In his 2 full seasons in the WHL, 4 goals, 65 points in 21-22. That was his draft year. 11 goals, 73 points in the 22-23 season. So again, I think offensively we see a lot of defensemen nowadays. It's just like, oh, he's a high offensive defenseman. It correlates with goal scoring. I think with Korchinski, if he's putting up high points, it's because he's making good stretch passes, good outlet plays. He's reading plays and moving the puck quickly in his own zone rather than, he's not a guy with a booming shot, or he's not a guy that's necessarily going to take the puck from the blue line, dangle to the center of the ice and snipe a lot of goals.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people consider Duncan Keith an offensive defenseman, even though he was a everything is awesome defenseman.
Yeah.
His career high is 14 goals.
Right.
So
I'll take that from a defenseman every year to match Kevin Korchinski's new number.
There you go.
It's going to take me half a season to remember that that's Kevin Korchinski when he's got 14.
You suck, Kachuk. Oh, wait.
Well, 55 is Levshinov, and he'll be in Rockford, so.
Yes.
It's going to take, it took me most of the season last year to remember Jason Dickinson was 16 and not 17 anymore. So it's going to confuse me. I, too, believe Kevin Korchinski is going to be in the NHL this season. Just, I don't think just because you can send him to Rockford doesn't mean you should. Do it if he needs to be there. But I think an off season after a full season in the NHL is going to work wonders for him. He now can go into his off season training knowing what he needs to do to get better at the NHL level. Get bigger, get stronger, work on those little things, your positioning, your leverage. If you're going to be out there against a bigger, stronger guy, you got to, your positioning on the ice, beating guys to spots. When you're, if you're giving up a few pounds, if you beat a guy to a spot, you don't have to muscle him out of that spot every single time. Make your life easier. He's going to learn and work on those type of things. So I think coming into this training camp, he's going to be more confident. He's going to be, bigger, stronger, hopefully a little faster, and ready to go. He's not going to have that, I don't know what I'm getting myself into anymore. So I think he's going to play 80 games here in the NHL. He'll get a little uptick in points. I think he'll have 7 goals, 25 points, a little more of that offense, get a little more confidence going. He had 93 shots on goal last season, so a little over 1 a game. So shoot more. I mean, there were a lot of times last year where he looked like he had open shots and passed it up. Get a little, now as a second-year player, not a rookie, maybe he'll have a little more confidence to go, hey, I'm going to just let it rip. You never know what's going to happen. You get a redirect, you hit off a defenseman's skate, You get a rebound and your guy's there to put it in. Shooting the puck from the blue line with traffic is, to me, what you should do all the time. Unless Connor Bedard has the puck, then let him do his thing. But
Just get out of the way
otherwise, shoot
and be ready.
Shoot from the point. It causes chaos. It causes just, you don't know what's going to happen. So the more you do it, the better things can happen.
It's a simple way to create offense.
Yeah. So I think things will improve for Korchinski. I think he'll be at the when we have this discussion next year after his second season. I think we're going to talk about Kevin Korchinski being one of the most improved Blackhawks, because just having that full season with no expectations on him at all at the NHL level is going to be huge for him. And if he does struggle, Rockford is an option, and I don't think they'll hesitate to use it, knowing that you have plenty of guys down there who can come up and play right away.
Yeah, I've got him for a little more offense than you guys. I have 70 games, 10 goals, 27 assists. That's 37 points. I do think he will get a little bit of a stint in Rockford just to maybe slow things down a little bit if things start to get a little chaotic for him. Also, they're going to probably want to rotate some young guys in, give him a look. Let's say Kaiser gets hot or Del Mastro gets hot or Allen gets hot down in Rockford. Maybe they want to give them a look and just kind of swap things out here or there. I think a lot of the stuff, and this kind of goes to what you were talking about, Greg, about the hesitation to shoot and the slave to the drop pass on the power play. I think a lot of that has to do with lack of confidence and almost like, I don't know, like deference. Like I'm the young guy. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to be a puck hog and shoot all the time. I just kind of want to. Hopefully, in year two, he grows out of that a little bit. I hope that his mindset changes to, okay, I am a Blackhawk. I am here. I've made the team again. I'm a key part of this team's future. I'm talked about by the front office as a major piece to this puzzle, and I need to act like it and perform that way. Because, like you said, Greg, a lot of the frustration with Korchinski was like, kid, drift the puck, man. Put the puck on. Like, there's an open lane, and there's Nick Foligno standing right in front of the goalie. Put the puck through instead of trying to force it through three guys just to make a pass. I think that mindset of be aggressive, that killer instinct, not only offensively but defensively, and we saw him working with Foligno to be tougher in front of the net, stronger in front of the net. That's not only is that a physical trait of getting physically bigger and stronger, it's also the mental part of it where you have to say, I'm going to remove this human being from my crease. This dude is not allowed to stand here when I am on the ice, and he's got to get in that mindset of I am going to battle, I am going to fight, I'm going to not fight, drop the gloves, but fight to clear the crease and get my goalie a clean look at the puck. That's a mindset. You talk about it in football, there are guys who just don't like to be hit. It is a choice. To physically engage is a choice. Walter Payton did it all the time. When he put that forearm up, he was opting to engage physicality with people, and that's part of what made him great. You have to have that mindset as a defenseman, especially if you want to be a top pair or top two pair NHL defender. Duncan Keith had it. Brent Seabrook had it. Nicholas Chalmerson had it. Johnny Oduya had it. Chris Chelios had it. All the greats, not only could they put up big numbers, they would also kick the living shit out of you in front of the net if it came time for it. That is part of being a defenseman.
Have the mindset this year of, I'm an NHL player, not, well, I should be in the AHL, but I can't, so I'm here because I have no place else to go.
Right.
No, you're here because you belong.
You belong.
Play like it.
Right.
And hopefully making the team out of camp will solidify that confidence for him and give him that belief. Because I think when you're worrying about everything all the time, as Kevin Korchinski probably was last year, you get in your head a little bit. Just go play. And I think of maybe a little bit vote of confidence from Richardson and Kyle Davidson if and when he does make the team out of camp and saying, look, man, you don't need to be looking over your shoulder. We are not waiting for the first opportunity to send you down, right? We do not expect perfection. We expect growth. We expect you to improve at the things we're asking you to improve at. There's going to be setbacks, but don't think that the second you make a mistake or you make a bad play or you throw a hand grenade pass that ends up in a goal, that we're going to send you to Rockford. That's not the case. Go play your game.
Give you two of those.
Matt Nagy,
Everybody gets one.
#BU.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's what he needs to do. Just believe that he's the guy that was chosen in the first round because, damn it, he deserved to be. And everyone around the league, from scouts to prospect analysts, believe Kevin Korchinski's going to be a hell of a hockey player. So he should too.
TWTW.
That's right.
Hey, do you know what happened on this day 4 years ago?
I believe the Chicago Blackhawks.
I don't
beat the
trust it.
Edmonton
They sure
Oilers.
did.
Are we sure this time?
They sure did.
Have we fact checked it?
I wrote it down.
Happy birthday, Windy City.
And
Hockey.
happy birthday to Windy City.
Oh,
Hockey.
happy
Yes.
birthday.
That's some extra gummy bears for me.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. All right, well, I will not be here tomorrow, probably. I have jury duty. Hopefully, I'm being dismissed.
Right.
Call that number tonight.
I'm going to, but I think I was looking. It doesn't matter. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to get out of it, but at the same time, if I go to jury duty and everybody like, what about your job is important that you can't miss jury duty, there's really nothing I can say.
You have to rank
Like,
the top
I'm an
10
ER
goalies.
nurse. I'm a school teacher. I do a Blackhawks podcast. Like,
In the off season,
you're sequestered. Get out of here. You are gone for a month. So hopefully I get dismissed in time for the show. I wouldn't count on it. But these guys got you tomorrow. And what top 10
Top 10
goalies in the league right now,
right
right?
now. Yeah.
And I submitted my list, so I'll be here in spirit.
Do they even know the letter Z exists in the alphabet when they call off?
They do because I keep getting jury summons.
Wow.
Very frustrating.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
All right,
I like your, what was the George Carlin thing you told me about yesterday
Get
when
out
they
of
asked
jury
me?
duty. When the judge asks you a question, you say, I'd make a great juror because I could spot guilty people just like that.
I might try that.
Do it.
I'm just excited about the Lester Holt video from
They
1987.
still show that? I remember
Yes,
that.
they do.
Lester Holt when he was a Channel 2
Yeah,
employee.
right.
When he still had hair.
All right, well, everybody hit that like button to get me out of jury duty tomorrow. Or if you don't want me here, hit the like button and I will be chosen for jury duty.
69
Either
likes,
way,
like, no, I kind of like that.
smash it for us. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 2:30 right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.